Welcome to the place where brains collide with science, wit, and a nerdy vibe. I'm Dr. Angel. Let's dive in where psychology meets a clever spin. Stay curious, be kind, and keep your mind nerdy.
How to spot toxic people without a microscope. This is going to be a nerdy guide to red flags in disguise. Have you ever walked away from someone and you just felt like your soul just got paper cut by their energy? That's your nervous system. And it's, doing the Macarena, trying to warn you. The truth is, toxic people, well, they're not always obvious. They're not always, movie villains or shouting maniacs. Sometimes it just shows up in really quiet, passive digs or guilt trips or fake concern. So today we're going to unpack subtle behaviors that, drain, derail, and, demoralize you. Hi, welcome back to Nerdy Psychology, where we demystify all things mental health. If you're new here, I'm your host, Dr. Angel, and if you haven't yet subscribed, I encourage you to smash that subscribe button and join our nerdy community. Today, we're going to discuss the signs of toxic behavior. Yes, you heard me say that correctly. We're going to learn to identify toxic behaviors so that, we can navigate them better. So grab your notebook and get a pen because you're really going to want to take notes for this one. Let's dive in. Criticism masquerading as help. They rarely offer encouragement, but frequently critique. Your friends always finding something off about your choices. Your outfit is bold. Your date is not at your level. Your promotion is probably a diversity hire. That's not insight. It's sabotage. The red flag phrase, I'm just being honest, can really be one of those subtle traits. This is a huge difference between constructive criticism that is given to help us grow and criticism that tears us down. And sometimes it can be difficult to know the difference. Using tone, intent, delivery, and emotional aftermath as some of your key markers. Constructive criticism. This goal is to grow, improve, support, awareness, help you reflect. Some of those traits are having that intent to help, not harm. Having that intent to help you maybe see something from a different perspective and give you that freedom to look at it from a different perspective. It's always delivered with respect and empathy. Constructive criticism, it focuses on the behavior or the outcome. It's not focusing on a person's character. Every decision doesn't have to be a question of character when it comes to that. And when we're looking at constructive criticism, it's not focusing there. It's focusing on what are those outcomes. It offers specific solutions. So here's something that might help, or have you considered this, or what would you think about that? Like, it's not about just saying this is wrong or what, oh, I can't believe you're doing that, and kind of leaving you back to the mind to let your mind race and figure out, well, what do they mean, or what should I do, or why should I do that, or I really like this, I don't understand that. And so when we're taking constructive criticism, now a person can choose to not take constructive criticism. That's okay, because constructive criticism always gives freedom. It always gives freedom, but it leaves the other individual, they feel motivated or supported, not defeated. So I'm going to give you an example. You give a presentation and your colleague says, you had some really great points. Oh, a suggestion, maybe if you slow down a bit during the transitions so people could catch everything, I think that your presentation could be even better. See, in that type of criticism, you feel seen, you feel respected, and well, you might even feel a little grateful for that tip or trick, or maybe something you weren't realizing you were doing, or how other people might be perceiving what you're doing. So now let's back it around and let's bring in toxic criticism. That goal is to control, to diminish, to offload someone's discomfort onto you. So, what are those traits? It can be delivered with sarcasm, it can be delivered with contempt or judgment. Feels personal. It feels character judge. It feels like an attack on you as an individual. And it feels personal instead of focusing on a choice or behavior. That toxic criticism, it lacks constructive direction. So it's just pointing out the flaws. It's not offering any ideas or solution or brainstorming. It's just letting you know. It's kind of that finger pointing coming at you. It comes usually repeatedly, and well, unfortunately, it comes most of the time very unsolicited. In fact, I get a lot of times people will get this toxic criticism come at them when they're like really excited about something and they really want to share an accomplishment or something they did well or something they're creating or a great idea or a plan or whatever. And they share that, and the person comes at them with this toxic criticism, and it just sucks the wind out of their sails, so to speak. This type of criticism usually leaves people feeling anxious or ashamed or not accepted, not enough, like all of those types of feelings. So I'm going to give you an example. Like I gave the one, you're excited about a new outfit. You know, you go shopping, summer's coming up, you got that cool little outfit, and you want to show your friend, and your friend is like, wow, you're brave for wearing that. I couldn't do that. I wouldn't want to look that desperate. What? It's dressed up as humor or honesty, but really it's rooted in power and control, shame, not support. So I want to give you some reflection questions here because I feel like this is an area that a lot of people really struggle to know the difference. In fact, what happens is I see a lot of times is that people have had so much experience with toxic criticism that they're unable to even consider or hear or recognize constructive criticism. And so what happens is when someone's trying to do something constructive, they take that as a personal attack, and then they kind of just are feeling attacked a lot, and they're missing growth opportunities. In fact, I have a whole workshop on how to handle constructive criticism because it's definitely something that gets in people's way of growing for themselves or leveling up, like we like to say. And so here is some self-reflection questions like, did I feel safe when hearing this? Or did I feel like I just needed to protect myself? Hmm. Did the individual offer something I could use to grow? Or were there words to make me feel less than, or to tear me down, or to shame me, or to judge me? Was what they said in private with care and respect and dignity? Or did they just jab it out in front of other people? Here's a big one. Do I trust this person's intentions based on our trust level and their past behavior and our relationship? Do I trust this person's intentions? These are some really great reflection questions to kind of help you in those moments when you're having that criticism happen and you're not sure, is this healthy, is this constructive, is this about helping me grow or level up, or is this tearing me down and making me feel belittled and judged and less than? And so we want to really step back sometimes and just kind of examine that criticism that comes in. So here's a quick tip. Constructive feedback, it opens doors. It is looking for something bigger or better or an improvement or an opportunity. And toxic criticism, it slams the door right in your face. It's if someone's words make you feel smaller without giving you tools to improve, well, then it's not really about helping you. It's about manipulating you or controlling you or putting you down, but it's definitely not about help. And so hopefully those will give you a little bit of idea of how to kind of identify the difference between the two, because we don't want to miss growth opportunities when someone's there trying to mentor us or help us or give us an idea or a suggestion. And honestly, there's a lot of people that may have ideas or suggestions. Maybe they aren't good for you. Maybe they don't work for your situation because only you know all the details sometimes. But sometimes they open an idea of thought that there could be another possibility, or it could just give you different room to grow and think and consider. And so just because someone offers it constructively doesn't always mean it's yours to accept, but you get to choose that. And that's where your power comes in. Your energy tanks drop around the person. When you leave the conversation, you just feel emotionally spent. You know, that feeling like, oh my gosh, a deflated balloon that just came out. Like you feel like you're done. I don't want to talk to anybody. I just want to sit in silence. Like I have nothing to give to anybody in this moment. That's that kind of feeling. And so after hanging out, do you need a nap? Do you need a rest? Do you need to unplug? Do you need to meditate? Do you need to sage your house? Like what is happening to you? Maybe that person, they have this vent monologue, or they're catastrophizing nonstop. We all know those people who are just find the worst case in every single thing and they never look for anything else, or the person that's just completely vent, and it's a very unbalanced one side interaction that happens repeatedly usually. And so the red flag in this is you hesitate to answer that person's call because you're just like, they're a lot and I don't have it in my space for them right now. And it depends on that relationship to how we're going to deal with that and what boundary we might need to put in place. But it's definitely one of those toxic traits that I really want you to just be aware of, because you definitely need boundaries with those types of people. You need to limit that interaction. So pay attention. Pay attention to your body and how it feels when you're around other people. When you hesitate or roll your eyes, when you see their message and you're just like, ooh, ignore, you're probably dealing with somebody who is an energy sucker. And so pay attention to that. You'll feel the muscles get tight when you just are really not wanting to do something or be around someone. I can tell you there's a lot of times in the counseling room when I'm having a conversation with an individual and we'll talk about a relationship in their life, and I'll say the person's name or ask something about it, and all of a sudden I just like see their eyes like literally almost roll in the back of their head, and I'm like, oh wow, that's telling. Let's talk about that feeling. And a lot of times people don't even realize they're doing it because it's just so natural and a part of them, but our bodies definitely tell our stories more sometimes than we're aware of. And so we just want to be aware and identify those people. If this episode made you go, oh no, I completely know that person, hit the like, share this with someone who could benefit from it, and help us get to 10,000 subscribers. Drop a red flag emoji in the comments if you're experiencing any of these traits. You're not alone. And we deserve to be healthy and to have healthy relationships. Be curious, stay kind, and keep your mind nerdy. That's a wrap. See you next week.
Stay curious, be kind, and keep your mind nerdy.